Hey, this is Jon Croft with Cultural Warfare with Jon Croft, and I am Jon Croft. And we have Rebecca here tonight. How you doing, Rebecca?
Hi, I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. Did you enjoy our topics over at Media Moses Weekly?
Yes, I'm really excited about Testament. That looks amazing.
Yeah, for sure. It looks like a lot of fun. And the stream should be happening on Sunday, so that'll be great.
Awesome.
And of course, the Chosen is looking fun. I can't wait to see the kind of stuff they're going to be showing in that live stream because they might show the set in Italy, right?
Wow.
Yeah, if you read our articles, you know that Dallas is like hinting where they're going to be. Oh, no, this new location. Well, we already know that they're in Italy this summer. So, but there could be even more to learn there. They might literally be in the same studio as Mel Gibson. We'll
Wow.
see. But the live stream is coming at 8 p.m. on Sunday night, and that should be a lot of fun. Check out our Media Moses Weekly for all that information. So this brings us to the main topic this evening, which is small creators believing the best. A lot of the reason we wanted to talk about this is that I put out an update today about a new book, a campaign we are going to be starting, and we've just started it. We've essentially started it today. And let me see if I can share this. Here it is. This is from our Substack, from my Substack. This was shared from trithiafilm.substack.com, which is my film company. It says campaign update, Violet Croft's Boxland pictures, editing, formatting, ISBN code, all determined. Our first campaign of 2025, Boxland Kids Book has begun. Actually, I could just play this. Our daughter's first book, Boxland, is well on its way to getting published. We are working with a small local independent publisher, or rather printer. We're kind of acting as the publisher, and we have not formed any publishing company as yet, but if we do, that's coming in the future. But Boxland has been approved for all the pictures, all the sizing, all the formatting for the kids book. I believe it's a 8.5 by 5.5, I think. Um, you take one of these sheets of paper, 8 by 5 by Just show how
11,
big it is.
right? So the 11, you just half it, and that's about the size of it. So something like that, right? It's a great little printer we're using, and former missionaries to China, by the way, who run it. But we are well on our way to getting this printed. We have the ISBN numbers all done. Um, we haven't done any runs yet to see the quality of the colors, but I really trust this printer on this, and we're using Canva to help us do it. So that's what they advised, to use Canva to help them. So we are almost done. We want to do the final approval for the quality of the paper, and besides that, there's very much left to decide.
There's not much left.
Pricing and all that stuff has not been done. So hopefully we are like, oop, so close. So that's our great update. Hope you guys will be enjoying looking at the art coming up soon. So
So that's just an example of the kind of creators we're talking about when we say small creators believing for the best. The reason I titled it this is because I believe that there's many small creators. There's so many small creators that I either know of or know Yet I feel kind of the crushing weight of the public that kind of like skirts right by them and doesn't see the value of what they're doing. And you get to feel it when you talk to a lot of creators, whether it's on X or Substack, which are the two places I hang out most on social media, if I do hang out at all in social media, and there's a common thread that you find of kind of skepticism, almost cynicism, that there's very little we can do as artists to make a difference in the culture because the general public doesn't seem to really care about supporting the work, the real work behind it. And that is to kind of feel that from others and know that they are discouraged and sometimes contemplate what they're doing, why they're doing it. The existential crisis kind of hits you. Why am I doing this? You really have to find your peace in him and you have to seek his approval instead of the approval of man around you. And as you just keep striving, last week we talked about Ethan Nicole's This Book Might Explode. It looks just like a incredibly charming project that they've got going over there. Ethan Nicole, former Babylon Bee writer, former Daily Wire writer. He's obviously a great writer. If you look at our article, our other podcast from last week, you can see that he does great work and he's doing this great a Kickstarter campaign. Check that out if you want to support him. But it's not like conservatives don't have great artists. The cynicism from the artists is not like, oh, I'm incapable of making great art. No, it's the disconnect they feel from their fans and their supporters, or the people that they should be supporting them, conservatives that should be supporting them, or Christians that should be supporting them, but who are kind of apathetic and not really engaged in the culture. So we found here at Media Moses that there's a lack of connection that people feel and a lack of understanding that there actually is a movement happening right under their noses. And so what we want to do at Media Moses is provide that connection for people to reach actual campaigns that represent their community and people that really do have the same beliefs that they do and really seek the best for their culture and their community. And they seek a reform and a rebuilding of our society. That's what they seek. And so status quo thinking at this point is not going to help us. Doing the same thing over and over is not going to help us. Netflixing and chilling is not going to help us. Instead, you kind of have to turn off that and dig in and find your community, people that actually are trying to rebuild our culture. Whether it's just small projects like our daughter's Boxland, or whether it's bigger projects like The Chosen was crowdfunded, by the way. But this more recently, This Book Might Explode, or there's many others. I was on X a few days ago and met a great gentleman, Willie, who's working on a George McDonald animated show. I'm not sure if it's a show or a film. I never gathered that information from him, but it's a project to make The Princess and the Goblin, an animated Princess and the Goblin. So I'm pretty sure it's a film, an animated film. So, and then he said if it does well, they'll do Princess and Curdie. So that's exciting. So these people are everywhere trying to do real things and trying to make a really big difference. If people aren't aware, they're plugged into a larger distribution network that's owned by huge corporations. And it's these corporations that are much of the problem in our culture. So what you have to do instead is bypass those distributors like Netflix and go direct. Luckily, the theaters will go direct, will provide you material that's not just from Disney or Warner Brothers. They'll provide you with content that's straight from filmmakers. Fathom, by the way, Fathom could work with filmmakers to provide films for you direct from the filmmaker. In other words, the reason I bring that up is because you don't have to be benefiting some huge mega corporation when you watch a film in theaters. You don't have to do that. But if you just only watch Disney and Warner Brothers films that are kind of like the marketing is kind of shoved down your throat because they have the money to do all that marketing. If you just kind of lay back apathetically and just kind of like let it shovel into your mouth, that's what you'll be watching. But if you decide to make yourself a little bit more active, become an active participant in your community, you can make the dreams of small creators come true. And so that when I tell small creators to have faith, believe for the best, that's something you can bank on. That's something they can bank on. Why? Because I'm coming to you and saying, help them, support them. Don't turn them away when they make a good product. That means I support a comic book of Fantasties being made. I do. There was an article I wrote maybe 2 months ago, 2 or 3 months ago, about Cave Pictures Publishing making a comic of Fantasties, George McDonald's Fantasties. Um, I actually even told Willie that that animator, and he's checking them out too. So this is a community that grows as we support each other, right? So Media Moses is a big part of trying to connect you to not just the bigger people like Daily Wire or The Chosen or Angel Studios, but smaller creators as well, like Ethan Nicole, like this guy, Willie, who makes, I'm going to be doing an article on him soon. I even talked to him about maybe doing an interview with him, which would be great. There's a lot of small creators. The word campaign comes to mind. Now, recently, we've talked about monthly addresses. We have been putting out for 2 years what's called monthly addresses at Media Moses. And these monthly addresses let you know all the goals the company is pursuing to bring better content to you guys. And so it was almost like a glorified list of the things I'm pursuing and Media Moses is pursuing to to make our operation better, better and better. So some of those goals got completed, some of them didn't get completed. What we were doing was connecting with all of you and looking for an intimate connection to form community. Obviously, there's other ways we do that. I'm working on Creator Coffee Bar as well and Cultural Exodus. Those are newer projects, but I did change the monthly address, if you noticed, and I started introducing this concept called campaigns to the whole process. Let's see if I can share the new quarterly, I call it, Q2 2025. Here it is. So this is Q2 2025. This is the only quarterly I'm going to be providing to the free subscribers. So you do still have to be a subscriber to get this, but you're a free subscriber, which is most of our subscribers now. We only recently have paid subscriptions. But guess what? All these cute quarterlies are going to be for paid subscriptions from here on out. So if you're really interested in what we're doing, behind the scenes, you got to be a paid subscriber. And if you do that, you'll be able to know all the things we're doing behind the scenes to bring to you and be able to farm that community with us. So, one of the things, for example, we talk about why these things changed from monthly addresses to quarterlies, which, as you know, a quarterly for a company is kind of a 3 month period, seasonal, so you have spring, summer, fall, winter. I think I changed it from December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. Yeah, so I actually did it more akin to the actual seasons instead of what companies usually do. Winter quarterly, I have in December, right? Um, so ours is a little different, it's true, but that's okay. We wanted to do it more akin to the seasons than the typical corporate quarterly. And so we describe why we did that. We're not just going to be giving you updates only quarterly, which is every 3 months. We're also going to be giving you what's called official updates. And that was actually what I told you, what I showed before with this update here. That's an example of the kind of updates we'll be doing as well as the quarterly updates. And those official updates will come out possibly every week or two. So that means we'll be meeting goals and sending you updates. Then I say in the quarterly, what else are we doing here as it comes to campaigns, right? Because I was mentioning campaigns, which brings us to our connection with the community and artists, right? So this is a very practical thing. I say, what does this equate to in real world? As it comes to plans of the company, we'll try to do these things for you in the future. Step one, update. When we have goals, we will work on them. And we ought to work on them first instead of mentioning them here first. Then if we accomplish them, we give you an update. Previously, this was backwards. So that's true. We were doing that backwards before. And now we want to be more results oriented instead of just always projecting where we're headed constantly, which by itself can be a little hard, a little bit of work. So instead, the work is the work, right? Let the work be the work first. Step two, the goal. If these so-called goals prove to be compelling or important enough to add them to our larger company ambitions, we include them on the next quarterly as a future goal to aim for. We may mention it in the quarterly differently than we have before in the monthly address. It may appear as a general desire or a direction we're headed in, as opposed to mentioning it as a definitive reality. So it's kind of a vague goal, which can eventually form into a more specific goal that we feel is becoming something more achievable in the future. So as it becomes more achievable, like in our plan setting and in our goal setting, you take an assessment of your assets and what you're able to do and accomplish, and you start to realize, okay, this is something I can start to be able to do now. And then if it's important enough, right, either it gets finished as an update sent out to you, or it becomes a campaign, a larger thing. A goal that was once vague and now becomes better defined can become a campaign that we work towards corporately. Since it cannot be accomplished by just a few people alone, it must be made into a campaign or a crusade of sorts, which may be about raising funds to meet many small goals in order to build towards a larger campaign goal. In the past, this campaign category was added to the main page on the top menu bar. And that's true if you look at top menu bar, over here somewhere is campaigns. And some of these are still not fully been utilized according to what the company's ambitions are. So campaign category was added. It had never been fully utilized. Now we're going to be starting to do that. And that's literally going to be up here you want to see campaigns on our main site, the campaigns we're working on, go to there. And we're going to have different kinds of campaigns. Okay. So this is something I don't even put in the article, but I'm kind of working on this. Different kinds of campaigns are literal people we know who are making art, and they need support. Number two, companies that we're partnering with so that we can help advertise their work or that individual's work. Like Ethan, we were talking about Ethan Nicole, the stuff they're doing. So we'll also be promoting them as well. Some of those people might even be, we might treat that as an ad or a sponsorship. So if we refer people to them, we might actually make money on that. That depends on our relationship, right? So my hope is that we'll be able to build more of those relationships so that our campaign menu bar, when you go up to campaigns, you'll literally be able to click on something and purchase something, and a portion of that will literally go to our company. That's what I'm hoping for in the future, because not only does it make it easy for you to support and build up the community, you'll be also building up us who are building up the community. So that's like a great cycle of benefit, because every time you benefit us, it's benefiting the community. Every time you benefit in the community, it's benefiting us. That's just beautiful. That's a beautiful like cycle. And you know then where that money's going and what's going on there, and how you're benefiting the community. So I find that really compelling idea. And the third campaign is like something that another company or platform is trying to raise money for. Kind of like Angel Studios trying to raise money for their film, or Lore TV trying to raise money for one of their films. We'll also be putting that out there. And so you can literally go to, from our link or our article, literally go to something that they are raising money for and help them right away. So I find that really refreshing too, because it's just another way that we're benefiting the community. So yeah, campaigns to me is a really intimate way that we can very clearly put our money where our mouth is. This is not like this is not like a crowdfunding platform, but what we plan to do is do something even more dynamic than a single crowdfunding platform. We intend to, through our campaign articles, provide links to you of many different platforms that all are trying to accomplish something very similar, right? So it's not about benefiting Kickstarter and that platform, because they take a lot off the top, by the way, Kickstarter does. So whenever if you are giving to Ethan Nicole's platform, keep in mind that's also keeping Kickstarter going and paying them. There's other platforms that take almost no money off the top. So you could say it's even better because more of that money goes to the artist, which I think is a win-win. We've spoken about one of those platforms before, which was Fund My Comic and the Fundiverse, which takes like such a small amount that it's like all that money goes to the artist. That's much more like efficient. Because when you're an artist and you run one of these campaigns, you have to always be minusing that amount off the top. And you can't, when you're doing your budgets, you can't be like, oh, my campaign is for $10,000. And then at the end of the campaign, you're like, wait, why did we only get $5,000? Well, that's because you didn't subtract all the fees, in-house. You got to do all that stuff. And so your choice of what crowdfunding platform you go to is going to affect all of those numbers. So that's a consideration to remember. Obviously, Kickstarter, even though they take off so much at the top, they're a far better known platform, right? So people know how to give there, they know what to do there. That could make it a more attractive choice. So we're not about like picking and choosing which platform is best. What we're doing is looking at the content that each artist is creating and then writing an article for them and saying, support this creator, right? So it's not about just hanging out on Kickstarter and finding someone. It's about coming to Media Moses, right? And then you find somebody that you really like, whether it's, I don't know, it could be a printer who wants to make these, because this is beautiful work. And if you really love um Dante's work, you might want to support someone making something beautiful like that. We want to provide that with campaigns, and we think that campaigns could help many small creators continue to believe that their work matters in the future, right? That what they're doing, what they're plugging away at in private, nobody knows. And then they're trying to reach out on social media and nobody even gives them any feedback. Nobody gives them any engagement. It's like, how are they going to support themselves? And how are they, because if they were to work at a regular corporation, they wouldn't be able to make the kind of work that they're making. They wouldn't be able to make this kind of work with conservative values, right? And we've talked also about how even the faith-based industry has a very narrow genre. It's a very narrow and strict genre. Certain kinds of stuff is acceptable in that genre, and you won't get funding if it's outside of that narrow genre. This is just how Hollywood works, guys. That's just how it works. Genre filmmaking makes money. And because genre filmmaking makes money, and people can always say, well, this kind of formula makes money, that means they say automatically, no, we don't want anything but this, because this has made money. It's a very risk averse industry, right? But if you go on Kickstarter and you just make something, those people don't care about that. They're just making art because they have a passion to make art. So that's what I've been trying to tell people too. People that are new to something like crowdfunding, guys, it's a different kind of market, right? There's a different motivation for creating in that market. So I would ask you to consider checking in with us on campaigns because we're not quite there yet. This is a new thing for us, right? In fact, we're kind of in the middle of a site transition. So yeah, we are working to make creators more and more relevant and by providing you guys with connections to their campaigns and our campaigns. So it's a little bit new for us. We're as stated, we're in a site transition too. So we don't have all the campaigns up yet that we're currently working on and working with, but we're hoping to get also work on some of these relationships that could potentially lead to sponsorships and things like this, which could literally be lead to advertising on the site and even ad reads and advertising in our videos, which would be exciting. These kinds of relationships hopefully can be good, positive relationships in the future. But as stated, we are in a site transition, which means we are bringing the Substack back into the public. And that means all the articles from this year on MediaMoses.com will also be going to Media Moses Substack. We also are making the paywall more dynamic to where you're not going to be able to access the monthly addresses. You'll only be able to get the quarterly if you are a free subscriber. After that, all the quarterlies will be paid subscribers. But we've started providing updates on Trithia. We're started providing updates on Media Moses Substack and on Creator Coffee Bar. So, this is just beginning stages of something that we think is really beautiful. These campaign section, I'm hoping to become something that's really special. And we want to support small creators who have hope for our society, who have hope for our culture. And if they can become something, maybe they can become something bigger after that, right? And that's a great hope that I have. So don't let those guys down. Keep them chugging along and happy and realizing that what they do has value and meaning. And you do that by supporting them. So even if it's a small thing, right? It's better than doing Netflix every month, right? And all those other Hollywood creators of junk, right? Don't eat the fast food, guys. Get some good stuff. Like even if it's just even if it's just getting this like through the mail, it's better than this is better than Netflix. Okay, guys. It's much better. It means a lot more. And you'll be learning a lot more about Western civilization instead of the modern junk that whether like there's no literary understanding. Give hope to these small creators, and we hope to as well. Check out Ethan Nicole's This Book Might Explode. Our daughter's campaign should be coming soon. We have not picked the platform yet to crowdfund her book, but we might do it on either Fund My Comic or Fund the Fundiverse, or we might do one of the bigger platforms like Indiegogo or something like that. We'll see. But that's how the culture crumbles. All right, guys. I hope that you appreciate these small creators around you. Find them wherever they're at and give them some support and love. And check out Media Moses this weekend on Sunday because two different live streams going on with some pretty cool shows. The Chosen and the Testament series is coming out with some live streams on Sunday. It should be fun. But where can people find you, Rebecca?
You can find me at Rebecca Croft on Substack and also Rebecca Loves Jesus on YouTube. Where can people find you, John?
Oh yeah, I'm on Substack too. In fact, as you know, I'm getting a lot more into Substack with our site transition and going public there again. Um, but yeah, you can find us on mediamoses.substack.com. You can find me, my film company at trithiafilm.substack.com and local networking on creator coffee bar.substack.com. And of course, as you know, we're on YouTube with Culture Warfare with Jon Croft, and we're on X as well at the Media Moses and at John Croft. All right, guys, we'll see you there and have a great weekend.